any way you cut it, we were headed for a messy outcome. That the Trump administration didn't understand the enemy that they were dealing with, and that the Taliban wasn't negotiating in good faith, and that the Taliban used the talks it was having with the Trump administration to secure the U.S. exit, and that if the U.S. forces, had remained in that country, they would be targeted by the Taliban. Much the same thing that Ann pointed out. What's your assessment of that? I imagine President Biden will sort of tick through that when he addresses the nation at 3:45 Eastern. What's your prebuttal to that assessment? Well, I'll start with you, Bill.
He wasn't boxed in. He had a decision to make. He could have discarded that deal with Trump. This wasn't an agreement, a treaty signed by the Senate. He could have discarded that, just like he's going to discard what was done on Iran. So his decision, he just has to own this decision. That's the reality is, and it is correct. The Taliban always were not negotiating in good. They were negotiating in bad faith. That deal with the Trump administration, which was horrible, it was used to get U.S. troops to leave. Our leaders haven't understood the nature of our enemy. These are all the problems. But I think when you look at what's happening at the airport, that's Afghanistan and our failures writ large. The closing of Bagram should never have happened, because anyone who's been to Kabul knows that airport is in a bowl inside the city. And it was entirely predictable to me that as soon as this threat came, that the airport would have been flooded. If I would have given a lieutenant this order to do this, he would have told me I'm crazy. And here you have the CENTCOM commander and the chairman and Joint Chiefs of Staff authorizing the closure of Bagram and letting this evacuation happen from there. They need to be accountable for their failures. This administration needs to hold itself accountable for its failures. It needs to look at all of the top leadership positions in national security and people who have advised this failed effort in Afghanistan. And there needs to be an accounting.